Yeah, man. You know, the whole country is due for an exorcism of divine truth. A situation in a situation where you are caused to shake your head at everything you hear, but it's the truth, and you're shaking your head at it because it's the truth. So, I really should have called this lecture SMH, the exorcism as well. I guess shaking my head, because that is what is going to happen and take place. You know, as we realize these things, as we realize all these things, that's something shaking my head. You know, shaking my head at it all. And back to this, that's why I say Christians are the most atheists of today, because Christians hate the truth. Basically, they don't want to hear that shit about Jesus, about this ain't, about there's more to it, about ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet. They shake their heads at all that, and for you to do that is to be totally blasphemous. Okay, for you to do that is to be totally blasphemous. Is to be a spiritual infant, a spiritual child. Okay, a child. We're being children. And we refuse to grow up. We have to grow up. And we haven't grown up as a people. Haven't grown up as a church, as a so-called spiritual people. You know, and we have been totally atheistic to the truth. You know, and not understanding the devices and the science in this is what is ultimately going to have us canned. That is going to have us canned and killed off. You know, that's another backwardness, is that Christians are more atheists than anybody today. You have more atheists right in the church, claiming to be godly in God's name. Because they don't want to hear none of that real shit that I'm talking about, none of that real shit that you talking about, none of that stuff you done, none of it. So this is a deep part of backwardness. You know, the whole concept of the devil is a backwardness. The whole concept of the devil, which I covered on my last lecture, that who is the devil? You was the devil. Please go check that out, man. That's a wonderful lecture. And also in there, just like I'm saying now, to understand that the whole concept of the devil is a backwardness, especially in reference to the Africans in America. Understand that the story of this so-called devil is your story, and everything in pretty much everything in the Bible that is telling you to not do, that's the shit that you was doing back in the day. And that's the shit. There are passages in the Bible that say, you shouldn't wear your hair. Telling women, don't wear your hair braided, don't wear jewelry, don't wear this like this. Pretty much, this is there is totally there. There are passages in the Bible that are totally deculturizing us, and keeping us deculturalized. You know, these types of things, the implemented slavery. And the whole, like I say, the whole concept of the devil, the whole concept of the devil, the whole concept of Satan is a total backwardness. Total backwardness for someone to create a character that they can ultimately they can shed accountability. They can shed their accountability, so they won't have to feel guilty for their actions or their sins. And along with the doctrine, writing yourself, saying that this group of people isn't even human, is 3/5 of a person. Along with it, it all comes together to justify slavery, basically, and to justify inhumane actions. You know, so people have to understand that. The whole concept of the devil, the concept of the darkness. The way that it tries to, throw you away, and it really tries to give this whole ominous look toward the concept of the darkness, when actually, like I explained in Who is the Devil, You is the Devil, And are you afraid of the dark? In my lecture, Are You Afraid of the Darkness? The darkness is actually the greatest part of your life. If it was not for the darkness, you'd have no light. If it was not for the trials and tribulations in your life, you would not have a testimony to give someone. And even in the Bible, it says, in the beginning, it was darkness. In the beginning, the darkness is is our primal essence. The darkness is our primal essence, and ultimately, we are the darkness. Black people of America, we are the darkness. When they're saying they're fighting against the powers of darkness, that is us. That is the great black hole. And when they talk about that black hole that nothing can come out of, black people in America, we are the black hole, and our knowledge and our truth is the black hole. What I'm introducing to you now is the black hole. Something that you just can't get away from. All in the backwardness, man. All in the backwardness. Continuing on how it tells you to not invocate any spirits in the Bible. Don't have any invocations. Don't invocate any spirits. In the Bible, it tells you to do not make invocations in the Bible. But then your pastor will tell you, when I was little, my pastor told me to go in the room, and call on Jesus Christ to come into my heart. Go in the room by myself and call on Jesus Christ to come into my house and to come into my heart. That is a direct invocation. Is it not? That is a direct invocation. To call on Jesus Christ to come into my house and to come into my heart. That is a direct invocation. Even greater, the greatest invocation on matter of fact, let's just define what an invocation is. An invocation is when you call on something, or when you brand something with that name. We have Rosa Jackson Center. Rosa Jackson Center is an invocation to Rosa Jackson. Can be. A building, a street name, as an invocation. But most importantly, the greatest invocation on the planet and in this country is the dollar bill. You have something that ultimately draws the wedge between man and God, and this ensured that these few white men would be gods, because the white man, his ultimate feat was to be God. In the Bible, the sickest thing is the sickest thing ever, but it's just the truth that the white man inked himself in as God is the Old Testament, because the white man doesn't have no history or none of that. So all of these people getting killed off in the Bible, all these ites and Ishmaelites, and how God is like, if you don't follow my law, you die type shit. That was white people back in the day. That was your fucking Alexander the Greats and your King Leopold.